Hello friends, I am really happy to share my preparation class for Etococ topic number 3 about the armature reaction in alternator. Let's discuss with your friends what are the mistakes has done in the oral exams. Like the wise Abdul Kalam also says, don't read success stories, you will only get a message. Read failure from your friends, read failure stories, you will get some ideas to get success. And me also made mistake in the survey asked questions about the armature reaction alternative to me. I explained only the definition so that I help friends. This video will help to get a clear idea of the armature reaction in alternator. Before going to the armature reaction in alternator, we have to see introduction and then we'll go to the armature reactions. For example, we will take the alternator is running on low load condition. When an alternator is running on load condition, we will get the exact what is induced in the alternator at the terminals. So the terminal voltage will be equal to the induced EMF voltage. The induced EMF voltage is what is produced by the alternator, and the terminal voltage we can say that is available to the load, up to the load, what is the available on the load. So at present now no load condition, we can say the terminal voltage is equal to the induced EMF voltage. So no problem. Whereas the problem is arising on load condition. What is going to happen in on load condition? The terminal voltage available will not be equal to the induced EMF voltage. That's why how it is what is happening. So when you close the breaker or when you connect it to the load draws current in the stator. As soon as the current, there will be also a flux. Whenever there is a current carrying conductor, there will be a wound producing flux. Yes. So this will have an impact on the main field, which is in the rotor. So we'll go in deep. Just I am giving the introduction. After that, we will go to the examples or practical view. Will come a clear view. So hence we will just really have a look about the on-load condition. Hence on load, the armature of an alternator produces the known flux. Yes, correct. When you close the breaker or when you connect it to the load, the alternator will produce its own flux. That is called armature flux. This flux has an effect on the alternator on load. So that's why we will not get the terminal voltage what is at the load as a induced EMF. You can say the voltage regulation also. The performance of an alternator on load is mathematically expressed by the voltage regulation. So how it is getting affected? There are three important parameters. The main parameter is the armature reaction. The other two small effect in the voltage regulation. Why the terminal voltage getting reduced? You will see here. First thing is armature resistance. Wherever the conductor you can take is the resistance will be there. As in AC you can resistance having the skin effect also. It is negligible. Actually the armature resistance is negligible to the voltage regulation. The second thing is armature leakage. The armature leakage is nothing but some of the flux completes its path through the air. 1 second. As you see in the diagram, this is stator and this is the rotor. The flux, something escapes in the air, that is the leakage flux. This leakage flux also one of the reason, and the armature resistance also one of the reasons. The skin effect you can find in the AC. Tendency of an alternating current to flow near the outer surface of the conductor. See in DC constant, in AC is alternating, no? So if we take the conductor, because of its back EMF strong in the center, The more of the electrons will be pushed in the outside. That is called skin effect. We will not go in deep in the skin effect. Just we have an outline. What are the effects in the voltage regulation? One we saw the armature resistance, and the other we see the armature leakage. Then the important is the armature reaction. So finally we come to the definition of the armature reaction. Now, if survey asks explain about the armature reaction in alternator, you have to say first the definition. You have to say the effect of armature flux on the main flux affecting its value and the distribution is called armature reaction. And kindly please note, and the power factor is the main thing. The armature reaction is not only depend upon the magnitude of the load current, it's mainly depend on the power factor of the load. Has to be a considerable effect on the armature reactions. Suppose your alternator is there and connecting, this is not up to the magnitude of the load. It's depend upon the what kind of load. Is a resistive load or inductive load or capacitive load. This plays the main role for the armature reactions. So you can say the effect of armature flux. The effect of armature flux on the main flux affecting its value and distribution, and the power factor of the load has a considerable effect on the armature reaction. If you in DC generator only the effects of the armature flux on the main flux, but in AC alternator the power factor comes into the main role. So we will go step by step. The power factor, that is unity power factor, lagging power factor, leading power factor. And before going to that, to get a clear idea, we will go to the just a practical view. Okay, consider this is alternator. This is a prime mover coupled with the alternator, right? This is the engine. And before speaking about this, you have to keep in mind the kilowatt sharing is done by the governor, right? The reactive power sharing is done by the AVR. I will give the other topic explaining in deep about the load sharing. This is also important questions. Explain about the kilowatt load sharing and kVA load sharing, because we will see now only little of kilowatt and kVA sharing. It will help to understand the armature reaction in detail. So consider here, if surveyor asked about this armature reaction, first you tell the definition. If you not satisfied in detail, you have to say, you should tell what kind of load is connected. Suppose if kilowatt load sharing, you have to say when a resistive load is connected to the alternator, what will happen? Here, for the kilowatt load sharing, you have to say when a resistive load is connected to the alternator, what will happen? Here is the stator field. Here is the rotor field. First, what is happening? The rotor is rotating the synchronous speed. The rotation is in this direction. But because of the armature flux, when the load is connected, when the resistive load is connected, the armature flux, the stator field will be in this direction. So what is happening is of its opposing, it will produce a retort torque in this direction. So definitely what is happening? Distortion. Let's see the definition. The stator field lies across the rotor field. See, the rotor field is like this. The rotor field is up direction. Across the rotor field exerts the magnetic pull or torque on the rotor that tries to pull the rotor backwards. See, now we can compare easily. This is called cross magnetization. Whenever a resistive load is connected to an alternator, what is happening? it is trying to pull the rotor backwards. So what is happening, you will see some generators running. If sudden load is applied, it will, you have a slight rotor pullback. That is why the governor will come into action. Now you can we will see how we will connect this kilowatt load sharing into the armature reaction later. First we will understand this kilowatt load sharing, what is happening. It is pull the rotor backwards. It is called, it slow downs the prime mover, and also the voltage get reduced. So if frequency is important, no. So what is happening, the governor will sense the speed is getting reduced and increase the fuel to match, to maintain that frequency. Understood? What is happening in the kilowatt load sharing? Unlike kilowatt load sharing, it is not exerting a torque on the rotor, but in field is in opposite direction to the rotor field, which results in large reduction in flux. See what we have seen in the kilowatt load, resistive load, it is like this, but here it's directly opposing. The rotor field is here and stator field is fully demagnetization. This effect is called demagnetization. What will happen if the demagnetization is reduced voltage? In the resistive load, there will be no reduction in the voltage, only the distortion will happen. Only the distortion will happen. During the pull backwards, there will be no that much reduce in the voltage, only little negligible. That's why the governor will come into the act. Only the speed will come reduce. So what is happening in the KVR? KVR means you forget about the KVR. Just you consider the inductive load is connected. Unlike load loading, the inductive load, what is happening is deep magnetization effect is happening. So it is reduced voltage, and AVR is coming to the play to boost the excitation. That is what is happening. The excitation will be increased. The rotor excitation is given by the AVR, no, is getting improved, and as a result, the reduced voltage will match to this normal voltage, 440 volt, maybe reduced to the 420 in applying to the reactive power load. It's AVR giving more excitation to keep up to maintain the normal voltage. Okay, got it. I think will be clear when you consider this kilowatt and kVA load sharing. Simply, when you connect to the resistive load, this is when you connecting to the inductive load. So now we match with this armature reaction. What is happening in the armature reaction? Now we consider as before, we just have a read once again at node. When the alternator running on no load, there will no current flowing through the armature winding. The flux produced in the air gap will be only due to the rotor ampere turns. On load, as soon as the load connected, the armature winding carries current. Every current carrying conductor produces its own flux, right? So there are two fluxes present in the air gap: armature winding, armature flux. The field winding is the main flux. So the effect of armature flux not only depends on the magnitude of the current. Here the main thing. The effect of armature flux not only depends on the magnitude of the current flowing through the armature winding, but also depends on the nature of the power factor of the load connected to the alternator. We can't say the magnitude of the current, the armature action is dependent. The main play is the power factor. What kind of load is connected? So the surveyor will definitely seek from you that what kind of load you have to tell. When a resistive connected load to the alternator, the cross magnetization is happening, and when inductive load is connected, is demonetization is happening. Like that you have to explain. Otherwise you can say in the unity power factor is unity power factor or a perfect lagging power factor or leading power factor, you can say. Now we will see the exact armature fraction, what is happening in the pure. I before said the kilowatt lead shading. Here the unity power factor. Unity power factor, what is the only the resistive, pure resistive load. So at the unity power factor, the distorting effect of the armature fraction is called cross. This is called cross magnetization. So why it is called cross magnetization? Because you see the main flux is in this direction, right? But the armature flux is 90-degree lagging. Up to here, it is opposing. After this, it is aiding. After this, it is aiding. So partially it is aiding and partially it opposing. Due to such distortion of the flux, there is a small drop in the terminal voltage of the alternator. Actually, this only distortion will make the slow down the alternator. That's why the governor comes into play to match. Now you consider the lagging power factor. See the lagging power factor. See, it's totally nullifying the EMF. Here the armature flux tries to cancel the main flux. Such an effect of the armature fraction is called a demagnetization effect. This drop in the terminal voltage is more than the drop corresponding to the unity power factor load. This is a pure inductive load. This is called a demagnetization effect. And we can take now the leading power factor. See the main flux and the field flux is aiding. The capacitive is aiding. Here the armature flux assists the main flux is called magnetization effect. Adds the flux to the main flux, increase in the terminal voltage. So what will do? The AVR will detect this and reduce the excitation to the rotor. That's as simple as that, no? So this voltage regulation, just you can say the rise in voltage when the full load is removed, field excitation speed remains the same divided by the rated terminal voltage. See, this is where the induced EMF and terminal voltage is same. And the leading power factor is the terminal voltage is getting more increased, and this unity when load current is slightly dropping and lagging, the too much terminal voltage is dropping. The change in load, there is a change in the terminal voltage of alternator. The magnitude of this change depends not only on the load but also on the load power factor. So finally, if the surveyor asks about the armature action, coming from the definition that the effect of armature flux on the main flux and also corresponding to and also have a considerable effect of the power factor of the load. And also you can say when a resistive load is connected to the alternator, the cross magnetization effect, that is a armature action. And when an inductive load is connected to the alternator, it is happening, the demagnetization effect is happening, and the magnetization effect is happening when the capacitive load is connected. The three important words the survey is expecting, that is a cross magnetization when the resistive load and demagnetization effect when the inductive load. You will see deep about the kilowatt and kV or load shading in detail in the next topic. Okay guys, thank you.